Hello and welcome back to OCD Coded. I'm Erin Brown. I have OCD and I'm a therapist and I want to help you learn to decode your OCD. What we're talking about today is starting and stopping and how that's the hardest thing for OCD. And it really helped me when I heard that the first time. It helped me to classify all the different things I was having a hard time with and recognizing that they weren't separate issues necessarily. They were all OCD popping up in different ways. And so like thinking about that OCD has the hardest time starting something. And so it's like all the, well, should I start it? Should I not? Am I going to be good at it? Am I not? And like all the worry about that. And so there's a lot of calculations and really hard time making decisions and leading up to that kind of thing. And then the actual action or decision itself isn't really that hard. But then the afterwards, the stopping, the living with it afterwards is a big part of it. And so that like, okay, I agonize about making this decision. I make the decision, then I agonize about if I made the right decision. But also with starting and stopping with so many things and how it looks like ADD also that, like I have so many things, I'm overwhelmed, so I'm just not going to start them, or I'm not going to start it unless I can do it perfectly. That all those different ways that starting and stopping makes it really hard. And that's part of with these videos, why I do these without editing, without, I just do one take. If I mess up, I mess up because if I don't do it that way, I will never start. I will never publish these videos. I will spend all my time re-recording them a million times trying to get them perfectly instead of doing this. And it was so freeing as I realized more and more that people don't need this perfection, kind of thing about these videos or the quality or anything that that it's about what we're talking about. And it's like to put my energy into the parts that I'm good at, which is not the production part of videos, but about the message that I'm hoping to get out there in the world. And with OCD, to know that nothing's wrong with you, that this is actually a superpower. You can just learn how to use it in ways that help you and learn how to identify when it's getting in your way. And instead of wishing it was different or wishing we didn't have this OCD, thing that we could, how to do things, how to work with it, how to recognize when I say, okay, thanks, OCD. I know you're trying to help, but not now. And when I'm like, okay, OCD, let's go. Like, I need to make this perfect. Let's do it. Let's obsess about this. Or, when I do need to kind of over focus on something. And that's why, too, it's OCD coded is it's about all kinds of obsessions and compulsions. It's not just about the disorder itself, but about fear is the obsession. And then anything we do to decrease that fear is the compulsion, and looking at all the different ways that shows up in our life. And so with starting and stopping things and making big decisions, it's so hard for OCD. And I see that too as I go to make any kind of big financial decision, especially I have the hardest time recognizing what are my fear, my OCD thoughts that are those urgent electricity, the da 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 kind of sound in my head, the calculations, and what is, healthy calculate or like, healthy caution and being like, okay, I do need to go over all these different things and I'm making this big financial purchase and I want to make sure I'm making the right one. But also at some point, we're not going to know like that. We can never know if it's the right one or not until we make it and try. And that OCD just is not like that. It wants a guarantee beforehand. And so for me, having to really learn like where that line is for me and how to learn to listen to myself about it and learn to listen to my own intuition. And it goes into so many things. There's all the shoulds. OCD is all about the shoulds. Like society says I should do it this way, or even my parents say I should do it this way, or I think I should do it this way. And then how to, like I try to notice the shoulds. Those are a chance for me to pause and be like, okay, is this a rule or ritual that I'm carrying out? Is this a real should? And then really trying to distinguish, like for me, does this fit in line with my values or not? And what are the things I'm trying to accomplish? And is this helping with that? And so um and that's one of the hardest parts for anybody. But then especially with OCD, it's just a constant practice of discernment of like, and I think of it as keeping a curious or a curiosity and a curious mind really helps. It's like that OCD is so judgmental, and those thoughts and those intrusive thoughts can feel very judgmental. And if I can just take a pause and be like, okay, that's one option. What are some other options? That kind of helps me to sort through the different things and to try to be curious, be like, okay, I thought I could do this way and it did not work out the way I thought. Can I forgive myself quickly and move forward to the next thing and start to learn and iterate? And that helped me too. Like OCD wants to at least like take track and keep data of things. And that can go too far in its own way. That's the information hoarding one type. But that, that it is good to start being more aware of my patterns. And so I start like recognizing that I can only do one thing at a time has been helpful for that starting, stopping kind of thing of when I get stuck starting something. I can pause, I can be curious and be like, okay, is this my OCD that's having a hard time starting or a hard time stopping? And I notice that with myself and other people that also then like in a good way or a on the other end of this kind of idea is like when I'm doing something fun, I definitely don't want to stop it, And so how hard it is. Like once I'm doing something I love to do, I don't want to stop doing that. Even if I know I need to go do whatever else I need to do for my life, I have a really hard time. And so one of the things that I really do is try to be careful or listen to the rationalizations, like listen to the ways, recognizing that I can talk myself in or out of anything, or that my OCD can talk me in or out of everything. And so I think of it like one thing that I want to take opinions from. Like, yes, I want to consult my OCD about what it thinks about the situation, but it's realizing that that's not all of the situation, that the OCD doesn't know more than I know about the situation. So that's kind of like one opinion of many. And can I hold space for that, for OCD's opinion, while also holding space that there's possibilities for other ones and how I want to navigate that differently in those kind of ways also. And so I think that that really starts to illuminate some things about like, so starting and stopping. If OCD has the hardest time starting and stopping things, I have the hardest time before going to a party or something. It's like, okay, I know I want to go, it's my friend's party or whatever, but then I'm also like, I can get all in my head about like, well, what if I see this person and what will I say to them? Or will they think my outfit's okay? Or just all these kind of ways that I can talk myself into or out of going and just being just really careful with that, being able to say, okay, are these OCD thoughts? Are these other thoughts? What do I really want to do? What's more in line? What will I regret most not doing? Like recognizing that, and with OCD, and the way I think of it is, I'm going to regret it no matter what. Like I'm going to worry that I made the wrong decision no matter which decision I make. Like no matter what, I can agonize it all I want, but no matter what I decide, I'm going to worry that I made the wrong one and think about that other one. And so I try to more think about it as not what is the right decision, but which one will I regret not doing more, or think about those different kind of things, because it always stuck out to me that people regret more what they didn't do than what they do. And so that really helps me to kind of navigate that and start to think about like, okay, what ways can I look at this differently? And, start to notice like, okay, am I having a hard time stopping or starting something? Is this about OCD or is it just having fun? Look at the ways I'm talking to myself and just be curious and open-minded and open-hearted. And that's what we're kind of learning how to do is how do I stay curious or how do I return to that place? How do I just start to notice when I'm not being curious? And instead of beating myself up, it just goes into a loop of all the same things that come back to, okay, starting and stopping. Am I having a hard time starting or stopping something? Is it something I want to do that I want to keep doing? Or like for me, going to bed is always a hard one, like because I don't want to stop, having my me time at the end of the night or whatever it is, and then worried about the next day and all of that. And that tends to be one that I keep coming back to work on. So I'm sure I'll be talking about that more. And I hope that this at least gave a little hint about where to go with all this. And it's just as a reminder, these are my thoughts and my experiences on this, but please talk to your own therapist about it for personal or specific, recommendations for you in particular. That these videos, the whole point is just to be able to give you some ways to look at this differently and to know that you're not alone, but just and that deciding what is right for you is that you're the only one who can do that. And that, OCD has such a hard time with that too, but it's like, but that's what I really want to encourage is what's best for you. And we're just trying to help uncover or hear that intuition also. Like OCD is really loud and we want to pay attention to it. It can be helpful sometimes, but really we want to start listening to that core self, that intuition, and start turning down the volume on the OCD so that I can hear my intuition and hear what my core says about things. And then having to just troubleshoot and trial and error, try different things, try making a decision from my core instead of my OCD. And um, I hope that really helps to start to practice things in a different way. And please let me know your thoughts. And I wish you the best until next time. See you later.